This exercise is a foot awareness exercise. Quite often it's referred to as toe yoga. And the goal of this exercise is just to get a bit of communication back between your brain and your nervous system and your foot. So a bit of like a coordination based exercise, I guess. Over time, when we wear modern footwear and it's quite tight around our feet, our toes and the muscles inside our feet sometimes can sort of go to sleep a little bit. So we're just trying to wake that back up so that we can get that better communication between brain and foot. Now, this can be difficult to start off with. The way I'm going to do it makes it look relatively easy because I've practiced this a lot, but I want you to think about this just like any other skill that you're learning. You're not going to be great at it to start off with, but with persistence, you will get better. So I'm just going to change the camera angle here so you can come down and you can see my foot here. Okay. So before I start the first of these three little exercises I'm going to show you, there's something important to know. I want your foot to have a firm base. So if you think about your foot like a tripod with the ball of the big toe, the ball of the little toe, and the heel being the 3 points of that tripod, they're going to stay on the ground with equal pressure. So at no stage do I want you lifting your heel up or going onto the outside border or the inside border of the foot. We always want to be keeping that nice stable base. Now the first of the exercises is a lift and spread, and as the name suggests, what we're going to be doing here is lifting our toes, spreading them out, and then bringing them back down onto the ground in that spread position, and then we relax. Lifting, spreading, and then coming down. Now, there's a couple of ways to think about this, and different people sort of find one or the other more easy. When you're spreading your toes, you can really either think about spreading them apart from each other like that, or you can think about spreading them forwards, so almost kind of like reaching forwards with your toes and then putting them back down onto the ground. Either way really ends up in the same result, but one cue just sometimes works better for better people. So have a go at that and see what works for you. Now the next bit gets a little bit more complicated, and what we're going to be doing now is lifting the big toe without the little toes lifting. Now yes, before you ask, we are supposed to be able to do this. It is a skill we should be able to do, but lots of people find it very, very difficult, and it's going to take some work. Just a reminder, we want equal pressure between those 3 points of your foot. We don't want to see this foot rolling across to get the big toe off the floor. So once you've found that foundation, we want to lift that big toe up and then nice and controlled bring it back down, like so. Now you might find this very difficult, and that's absolutely fine. So as a bit of an intermediate step, what I'll quite often get people to do is actually just gently hold. We're not forcing the other toes down, but gently hold those 4 toes. And sometimes that tactile input's just enough of a cue for your brain to be like, oh, okay, yep, that's how I keep them on the floor. So you work through and then do that. The other thing with this is as you do go up, I don't want those little toes like really clawing in and holding onto the floor for dear life. You are actually trying to keep them relatively relaxed and then bringing the big toe up and down. Now the third of these little exercises, you've probably guessed already, is to then be able to lift the little toes without the big toe lifting off. Now again, can be quite difficult, but what you can do as that intermediate step is just gently hold the big toe down and lift the other toes up. This is one where quite often we'll see a lot of this extra movement, so really work hard to keep that ball of the little toe down onto the ground while you're doing this, and go down from there. And you'll feel different things during this, but quite often people will report that they'll feel a bit of muscle activation through their arch, which is a really good thing because that means that big toe is activating and going down towards the ground there. So that's the foot activation, or toe yoga that we're looking at. Again, I'll just reiterate, can be difficult for some people, and it is a skill. So lots of repetitions like this. The way I really like to think about this is it's a bit of food for your brain and food for your foot. So I don't know about you, but I'd much rather eat 3 times a day than once a day. And what I mean by that is if you can be doing little bits of these exercises 3 times a day rather than just the once, it's going to be far more beneficial for you in the long term. So that there is your foot activation exercise.